All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Hunter the Reckoning tonight. We are continuing our chronicle, Your City Lies in Dust, and we now have a permanent new fixture to the group. I don't know why my voice went up so high there. That was kind of strange. But yeah, we have Steven did so incredibly well as Rena.
I'm great at dying.
That we thought we wanted to give Ashley a break from having her characters die. So we brought in Steven to go ahead and take those bullets for her. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I would do anything for you, Ashley. Oh, I almost forgot.
What?
You gotta
top button. Oh, he did not. Wow, he's put an actual freeze color on. Oh, see, this is why Steven gets paid the big imaginary bucks. Chuck Farco Dev, thank you so much. Let's see, Chuck says 278. I like that. Farco Dev, that's complications. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
I have actually started in my prep with every scene. I always make up like, if someone buys a complication, this could happen. I do that all the time.
That's great.
It's pretty great. Yeah, I have it ready to go. And again, complications aren't just like an auto kill or anything. There's just an extra wrinkle just to cause you all a little trouble. That's all it is. I appreciate it, Chuck. Oh, goodness. Oh, Aaron, thank you for those gift subs. Look at this. Everyone's just throwing out. We got a hype train and stuff going on already. You are far too nice, with the exception of Steven, of course. But he makes up for it.
Yeah, I'm not giving any bits right now. Everyone else is doing it for me.
I know you're not. That Red Blondie, DJ Quiver.
Thank you all. You're great.
All right.
Oh, that's my wife.
I know.
Thanks, Leah.
So you are giving some bits right now. You just didn't realize it.
Oh, goodness.
Damn, making me a liar.
Yep. All right. Why don't we do a quick roundup, because we have a full crew. So this is going to be the crew from now on. Whether or not they stay the same characters, that might change. But this is our crew. Long is back after a couple weeks off, so it's really great to see him. And Long, why don't you start us off and tell us about Alvin Tao?
Yes, I'm playing Alvin, the judo master, 30 years from training. Got my own dojo. I have a wife and a young daughter. In the late nights, he came in encounter with a supernatural being that mangled his left wrist, left him with pretty nasty scars, had to get multiple surgeries. And because of that, he's always seeked out this supernatural, try to see why is it so powerful? What is it doing? Very curious about it.
Yes. Also, you're very good at risotto. And we're gonna check it on your family here at some point early on in the session. As while you were gone, I decided to put them in danger. That's what you get for world traveling. Ashley, we'll find out about your new character soon. Ashley played Elaine. Sadly, Elaine passed away a few episodes ago. Last time
I introduce Dina?
Well, yeah. So is it Dina? I keep running. Is it Dina or Dinah? Dina. You say Dina, I say Dinah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Farco, thank you so much for the gift subs. Is that a Poison the Baltic Star I see in there too? What's going on? I thought you guys were playing. I thought I saw you all up and playing. So yeah, tell us about Dina really quick, because there's a lot we never learned about her. So what did we need to know about Dina?
So Dina Hodges, she was Elaine's friend. She was the one where we got the Trink gun from that we used to track the eyeball monster. And sorry, excuse my voice. But she specialized in veterinary medicine. She had this cool dog that you guys never got to meet.
I want to meet the dog.
Yep. But I took the Beast Whisperer perk. She was untraceable arsenal. And yeah, she grew up on a farm with her grandparents, and then she met these guys because Elaine was hinting at some things that were occurring. She's really concerned about a chupacabra that maybe
we had a whole thing. Ashley and I worked out a whole thing that's never gonna happen.
And then
sounds like a lot of work went into this.
It did.
Yeah.
And then she got in a car with some strangers who she thought might be her friends, and that was her first mistake.
Mm-hmm. And we figured out afterwards she also has the other pills.
Yeah, yeah.
She's the one with the other
she-
pills with the evidence, which is great.
She had a character or a person who visited the stable she worked at,
Yeah.
and they gave her 3 pills because she was gonna date a Thomas, like Yvette's
Yeah.
deceased husband.
Yep. We had a whole thing. It was ready. We're ready. Dina, we barely knew you. I hope you live a happy life in
Yeah,
whatever
she's
state
running
you clearly relocate
far
to.
away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's already
somewhere on the East
relocated.
Coast, I'm sure. Yeah, she'll be
Yeah.
in like North Carolina all of a sudden. All right, let's kick it down to Quixote Rust. Aaron, tell us about Quixote.
I asked you who I was last time because I didn't know. But I'm sitting here leaning against this car with a gunshot wound to my gut. And I had a moment of clarity. I am Quixote Rust. You see, I've been trying to be some 10-year-old little boy, trying to grab a hold of his life and his family. But he died. He died the day his family died. He died when that parasitic demon crawled inside him and ate him from the inside out. That's when I was born. And for 10 years, I lived in darkness and pain and hate and hunger. And then I was birthed into the light by Sister LeBlanc and Dr. Freud. And that's when I took my first breath. Her society, of St. Leopold, they don't want anything to do with me. They think I'm tainted, some vengeful apostate, and they're not wrong. I'm a guerrilla soldier in the war against the darkness, and I'm going to always do whatever it takes to keep innocent humanity free of the taint of the evil that is supernatural. So, Granny Longlegs, the next time you're waving at me and smiling at me through my own reflection, I'm not a scared 10-year-old little boy anymore. I'm your death staring back at you. Do you hear me? I'm your death. Oh, by the way, listen, this is between you and me. Don't tell anybody else. I'm telling you this stuff because they already think I'm a little unstable. So, shh.
A little unstable. A little unstable. That was great. Aaron always has the best intros to his characters. I think I'm going to start requiring everyone to do stuff like this. So just,
I prepared an intro actually this time, though, because Aaron raises the bar so high.
Well, anyway, I don't think we're going to introduce you, though, on the...
Yep. I got it for next week.
Yeah, for
or
next
next
week.
session.
Next session. Okay. But we do have one more returning character. We have Maria Baum, who I think holds Quixote's life in her hands right now, which we'll get to in a second. Tell us about Maria there, Melissa.
Yeah, Maria. She is our blue collar inquisitive. She's got a cat named Annie waiting for her back home. She's got a van. She's got a drone. She's got a dead mentor. She's got a dead mentor's niece. And there's a witness that just drove off with evidence, and she's having a no good, very bad day.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you to everyone who tossed out stuff, bits, subs for that hype train. That's a new all-time record for us. 66% of the way, level 3. So that's very, very awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. So shall we dive in? Let's get started. So last session, we began with a small hunter wake for our poor, sadly departed Elaine Graves. It was held in the private room of a downtown pinball arcade bar that she apparently frequented in life. Ashley chose it.
Yep.
There, the surviving cell members met the aforementioned Dina Hodges, who was a friend of Elaine's and a Valley vet. She wasn't fully initiated into the world of darkness, of course, but she had suspicions. And she had some connections to Sunset Trails, in fact. Drinks and stories were shared, but eventually the evening was interrupted by a familiar face, a friendly one, but not a friendly one at the same time, Dr. Wendell Drebin. He gifted you all a bottle of very expensive wine in his condolences, and sort of made it seem like it was a peace offering. He explained how the people that he represents don't like to waste talent, and the death of Elaine was kind of a waste. And then he, sort of in a politely threatening manner, suggested that you all, your cell, should turn its attention away from what's going on in the Phoenix Valley and his various projects, and instead turn its attention somewhere else, right? And he even offered you a lead on a clan of werewolves that are apparently operating in the Superstition Mountains east of AJ, Apache Junction. Rust got, as you would expect, not react well to that, moved towards Drebin, but that's when every single patron within that arcade bar suddenly stopped moving and turned, had guns drawn here and there, as all these undercover lockroom control agents who had been paid in some way to protect Drebin. So you all mold the offer, sort of. There was some back and forth on whether they actually follow up and lay low for a bit, and then there were others who were like, no, we're gonna persist. And so you all decided to persist with the Sunset Trail stuff. Dina was also going to lend a hand as well. She managed to meet with one of the Sunset Trail's residents, one by the name of Yvette. I can't remember the last name, but Mora. Yeah, Mora, I think. And that woman had a horse at one of the private stables where Dina worked, and eventually, after some schmoozing, gave up three small pills, that these sort of experimental pills that were supposed to be like anti-aging or something like that. And it was for Dina because she was going on a date, I think is what it was. Later on, as you guys were trying to debate and discuss what happened, Alvin was gone this day. He wasn't with you as he was dealing with something with his parents. As if you recall, Drebin had those photographs of everyone here and there, and had photos of Alvin's family. So Alvin went off to take care of that. While you were driving the van, Rena smashed one of them and snorted it. A few minutes later, she started to freak out a little bit. She started to have some reactions. Shakes a little bit here and there, started to get a little agitated, scratched like really roughly down the dashboard. And that's when like Rust saw it was happening, and he just went for it and stabbed her in the ear, killing her instantly. Because Steven is known to make a character. So, after that, Dino was also in that van, hadn't seen what was going on, and was freaking the hell out. You all decided, Maria, that you were going to contact Katya, let her know what happened to Rena. Katya is basically Rena's adoptive mother. So you found a empty parking lot for a mountain trail somewhere in the Phoenix area. You met her there. Still had Rena's body in the van. Still had Dina with you. Still had Rust with you. You told her what happened. You told Katya what happened, and she turned and just fired at Rust. Pulled her gun out and started shooting. And would have killed him too if you, Maria, hadn't bumped her, giving Rust just the amount of time and cover to pull his own gun, fire back, and kill your beloved mentor, Katya. Katya, who, by the way, possibly saved your life while at the Whitehall Advanced Care Clinic when you were dealing with that strange entity that had forced Elaine off and up into the mountain. So, we're going to pick up right there. Rust is bleeding, leaning against your van. He's got a gut shot. Katya is dead on the ground, just a few feet away. It is late afternoon, evening. There's still probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours of light, we'll say. You hear the screeches of the car, of Katya's car, off in the distance, driving away and out of the parking area. Dina is gone. Maria, Rust, what do you two do?
So Maria is immediately going to go over to Rust, and she's going to kind of get down kind of level with him and just sort of kind of do the arm bar kind of across the top of the chest. You did this. You did all of this. You are still a kid. You don't understand this shit. I have been doing this for so much longer than you, And this is what happens when you don't think. A leads to B, leads to C. And people die that did not deserve to die. Do you get that? Tell me you get that. You're muted.
Wasn't innocent, and that she was a hunter, and that you loved her, and that she didn't deserve to die.
There better not be a but coming.
There is no
better
but.
not be a but coming.
Not for her. But Rena.
No.
No. She was changing, and she would have killed you in that
don't
van.
know that.
I do.
That's the problem.
No, I
Dina
do know
was
it.
right. All of those people take those pills. And this doesn't happen. You don't know what was going to happen.
We've
when you
seen
kill
it.
someone,
We
you
saw
can't
it.
not do it.
I felt it. You know I've got gifts. I felt her changing. I saw what those people at that compound, your friend, those old people did to a busload of homeless people. I fought them. They're stronger than we are. They're faster than we are. And they tore people to pieces with their bare hands and teeth. We already lost Elaine. I couldn't let her kill you.
Kill them right away.
There was no other
You can
way.
secure people. You can do other things and kill them later. You don't kill first. That's not what we do.
I was not going to risk you. That is what we do. Sister LeBlanc has always been clear. When you're faced with the supernatural, you cannot hesitate. You either execute a plan or you withdraw. We were in a moving van and she was turning. I did what I thought I had to do to protect you and to protect the mission, and I would do the exact same thing again every time. She was a threat. She chose to take the medicine that she knew was dangerous, putting us all at risk, and I put her down for the evil that she was becoming. Doesn't forgive my actions against Katya, and if you feel like I've got to die for that, for taking an innocent life, then I understand that, but I will not feel pity for Rena. She chose her path and I ended it.
I'm not going to kill you. That's not our first choice. We don't kill first. Think about it later.
I kill monsters, not people.
We hunt and we decide what we need to do. Sometimes it's killing, sometimes it's not. And you are not acting alone. You are there's a whole group of us. Do you not see the pictures? Why Alvin's not here right now? Because they have pictures of his family? That's why we don't kill first. We have to be smart. You have to take what you've been told and use it smartly.
If she hadn't done what she did, she'd still be alive.
And if you hadn't done what you did, she would still be alive. She points to Katja. And we wouldn't have Dina running to the authorities right now.
She's not running to the authorities. She's seen too many weird things. But even if she does, it doesn't matter. I don't exist.
But I do.
But I was the one who did
and Alvin
it. You
does.
made it very clear. She doesn't
and
even
she
know
did.
Alvin. I'm not gonna apologize for Rena. I did what was right. Period.
That's something I'm going to need to think about.
I understand that. I worked the streets alone before, and I can do it again if you don't want me around. But I was not going to let her hurt you. I wasn't there when Elaine died. I couldn't stop that. You people are the only family I've ever known, and I wasn't going to let her kill you because she wanted to play with supernatural pills. I couldn't risk it. I just couldn't risk that. I couldn't
I don't disagree with you that Rena was a little shit. But just because you didn't like her doesn't mean you find an excuse to kill her.
That's not why
That
I
is
killed
not
her.
what we do.
It's not why I killed her. Look at the scratches. She's in your van. She tore through that like it was paper.
How long have you been doing this hunting?
2
How many years? How long?
2 years.
You think I've been doing this longer than 2 years?
I know you have.
Okay, then. 2 years doesn't give you all the knowledge you need.
I'm not saying
Do you
it does.
understand?
I'm not saying it does. I understand that. But she crossed a line, and I'm not going to say I'm sorry for it. I'm sorry for Katya. And I'll take whatever punishment or penance I have to serve for taking an innocent life. But Rena was not an innocent life. She stank of the enemy as soon as she took those pills. You saw what her body did. It continued to try to move for 20 minutes. It tried to heal itself. She was not human when she took those pills. I smelled the difference immediately. I felt it in my bones. But you're right. You have to decide what you want to do. And I'll accept anything you say.
Right now, I want you out of my face. And she's going to let up, and she's just going to punch the side of the back of the van door. And she's going to call Alvin.
All right, Alvin, your phone rings. You've been dealing with family, I think, for the last 24 hours. The last you saw everybody was last night, Elaine's funeral. Last time you talked to them, you knew that they were doing something, Sunset Trails, but probably haven't heard from them since, I don't think. So what is Alvin doing when this call comes in?
Alvin's been spending time with his daughter, wondering what she's been up to, how she's doing. And alongside that, he's been preparing or reinforcing a panic room that he's had built in his safe house. It's pretty much just like a locked room that can fit 2 people.
Mm-hmm. Just 2?
Yeah, I think it like increases if you increase the advantage, but it's mainly for my wife and daughter in case something happens.
So you're sitting there. It's late afternoon. You're doing your like your daughter's maybe coloring book, watching cartoons, playing around with a tablet, something, as you're sort of doing this renovation to your panic room. And your phone goes off, and you look down, and however you have Maria recorded in your phone, or maybe you have a phone specific to your hunting, and then you have like your family phone, and you see Maria's number pop up.
This is Alvin. What's going on?
I need you to meet me.
Yeah, just tell me where.
You're gonna have to do something with Rust, and I'll give you the cross streets.
I'll take that location and tell my wife and daughter I have to step out again.
Okay. So when you go to tell your wife, what are their names? Because Celie the daughter. What's your wife's name again? You don't even remember your wife's name. I see you on Foundry jumping over to the relationship map. I see you clicking on it.
It's Lucia.
Okay. So maybe she just gets home from work. She's home 20 minutes. And she's kind of winding her day down. And you come over and you say you gotta go. She's like, "You're gonna leave again?"
You know I'm busy.
You run a dojo. How you get a phone call and then you up and leave? The dojo's closed anyway.
It's unrelated. You know that incident that happened there.
Yeah.
The cops, they keep looking, keep wanting to know more.
And do you know more?
Keep telling them what I can, but they just don't believe me.
Well, maybe I don't believe you either. You're hiding something.
You just have to trust me.
Something happens at your dojo. Kids get in a fight. There's drugs. One of them's got their face bashed in. And now you're home. And you're expanding our panic room. And now you're just leaving.
I'll explain it to you someday, but I just can't now.
Just shake her head and just go. Just go. Your daughter, Celie, she kind of, you can see her like hiding. She sees mom and dad fighting. She's kind of hiding. She's looking out. She watches you as you kind of go out the door. You turn around to close the door, and there she is, like peeking out from behind, piece of furniture or something like that. She was hiding behind. She sees you leaving.
I just do a little wave to her.
You see this very like ginger wave come back up, and then you close the door. You start, because you're in an apartment, right? Or is it a house? I can't remember.
Small house.
It's a small house. Okay.
Yeah.
So your small house, are you in like North Phoenix or?
Yeah, it was North Phoenix.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So you get do you have the motorcycle?
Yes, I do.
You pop in your motorcycle and you start driving away. Roll an awareness test. As you're driving away. Awareness, we'll say wits.
Okay. Only got one success.
Okay.
What if like the pool matters? It's like the auto win or something like that. I forget.
What you could take half. I'll give you half. What's your half?
Take half. Yeah, I had 5, so half would be 2. Is rounded down.
Okay. Yeah, even 2's not good enough, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's fine. You hop onto the surface streets, get out to the highway, and you head out. You're going west, actually. Not all the way west to Surprise, where Sunset Trails is, but you're heading west. Kind of Glendale-ish, probably. Pull off. And Maria, were you sending him to... Oh my gosh, 12 to Twitch, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Are you having him come to where Katya, where you are? Are you leaving this location, Maria?
I'm having him come and pick up Rust so that I can go dispose of the bodies.
Okay. All right. It is nearing sunset. Maria, you notice that there's this. So you all you and Rust right now in the van. You're in a parking lot. It's paved, but there's also this sort of dirt parking, kind of extended area. There's a couple different trail markers, trailheads, and this sort of weaves and winds its way up to kind of a distant mountain. It's not a very nice trail. There's far better trails to go on, Camelback and such, not too far away. But you do see a car turn into the parking lot area. And it's not uncommon, for people to go on walks or hikes and kind of see the sunset. And so you see this car weaving its way. It's not Dina. It's something different. It just looks like a truck that's pulling up. And they're not parking anywhere close to you. So what have you done with Katya? And what have you done with Russ?
I would say both of the bodies are inside the van.
Okay.
I told Rust that Alvin is coming. So I don't know what Rust would be doing, but Rust is not inside the van.
Rust is bleeding.
Yeah, bleeding badly.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Covered in his own blood.
What would Rust be doing, though?
Rust would be... Maria, I know you hate me right now, but we need to get Rena's blood. We need to keep some of her blood. We need to figure out what's in that drug. Other than that, I'm just going to sit here and bleed because I think I'm going to pass out soon.
The best I can do for that is some rags, and she'll just sort of toss them your way.
Okay. You can see at this point, Maria, that there's a couple, probably you would peg them late 20s, early 30s. They've got hiking gear on. It's basic stuff. They've got their water bottles, like a fanny pack or something like that, and they're kind of joking and laughing. They definitely just look like normal people. But you see them walking in your direction because you guys are fairly close to one of the trailheads.
Maria, leave. Take my gun with you and leave. They can find me here and take me to a hospital.
And I will do that. I had taken a particular edge with my van before that helps me kind of be stealthy with it.
Okay. You do want to leave him? He has a gunshot, so that's going to cause some complications.
It's all right. Just go ahead and go. I can handle it.
Get in.
Okay. Russ climbs into the passenger seat.
Okay. So you climb in, and as you climb in the passenger seat, Russ, you can see right in front of you as you're kind of holding, like we'll call it like a gut shot or something like that, as you're holding, and you can look out on the dashboard right in front of you. You see the clawed scrape marks from Rita. It's right there. You can see a chunk of her fingernail at the bottom of one still kind of embedded in it, and a little smudge of blood there as well.
Is there quick still attached to the fingernail? Did she tear it out by the root?
Yes.
He bags that. Give me a little bag. He goes, this might help.
Reaches out his bloody hand, grabs it. All right. So you pull out in the van and you drive away. Presumably you call Alvin and you come up with some other plan.
I'll change the rendezvous point.
Okay. And we'll say within about a half an hour, 20 minutes or so, you, Alvin, Quixote, you're in this empty parking lot of what looks to be kind of near the airport, kind of off to the south. So it's one of those sort of commercial fronts that are there, but they're kind of transient, like rental properties. You kind of pull up into there, and Alvin's motorcycle comes up. You see him. Alvin, when you come up to the van, there's a little blood on the outside, and there's a lot of blood on the inside. You see Quixote in the front seat. He's bleeding. You see a dead Rena, and you see a dead Katya. You don't see Dina. All you see is Maria and Rust.
Jesus Christ, what kind of carnage? Just tell me about it later. Russ, you're bleeding.
I need to get to St. Mary's Basilica.
Get him out of my sight. I need to take care of Rena and Katja. No place. I'm going to be gone a while. Do what you need to do with him.
Is he any immediate danger, or is it
mechanically speaking? No, he's not going to die.
Okay. I'll go ahead and just load him up.
Yeah, it's probably painful for him to ride on the motorcycle.
Not a good day.
He's going to bleed all over your motorcycle.
He's going to bleed on your back and everything. Yeah. But okay, so Alvin, you get Quixote affixed onto your motorcycle. And Maria, you head off to take care of these bodies. We'll deal with Alvin and Quixote first. As you head off to St. Mary's, northeast of where you're at, kind of backtracking the way you came, Alvin. Eventually, you do get there, and at this point, sun is essentially halfway down, the horizon. So there's very little light left. Quixote, you see the familiar silhouette of Sister LeBlanc, kind of pacing around out on the steps, like looking, and when she sees you pull up, because I imagine, Alvin, you probably only have the one helmet, so maybe she sees Quixote, and she comes sort of racing up, concerned. She looks down, and she sees you, Rust, and she's, what's happened?
Sister LeBlanc, I was shot. I had to kill an innocent person. She didn't understand, but Rena was never a hunter. She was always in it for herself. And she took that drug. Alvin, I know it's the same drug that you saw that kid take at your dojo, that all your black belts couldn't tackle this kid and hold him down. It's the same stuff that got Brock beat up. It's the same stuff we saw them feeding those old people that turned them into animals. They tore those homeless people apart. Rena snorted it because she thought it would be funny, and I could feel her start to change. I couldn't lose Maria like we lost Elaine. I killed Rena to stop her mid-change. And then we went to tell Katya, and she shot me, and then I shot her back. I probably should have just let her kill me, but I'm sorry, sister.
So you notice that LeBlanc does not correct you. She doesn't like stop and say you're wrong. She looks over. You can tell she's trying to maintain a semblance of composure. Alvin, as the story is being told, she's looking at you, just sort of trying to get confirmation in your face and your eyes, like a nod or a shake, or and again, this whole time, Rust is in pain. He's been losing blood. He's probably becoming more and more exhausted by the moment. And then she says to you, Alvin, without really addressing anything Russ said, she says, "Do you know where Desert Ridge Methodist is?"
Yeah.
Okay. There's a man there and a woman. Reverend Wood. Tell him I sent you. He is in the world. He has a medic. I can't bring a gunshot wound in here. She kind of looks almost angry at Russ. This is St. Mary's. This is not the society. This is a proper institute.
Sister. I know, sister. I'm sorry.
We're already
Drebin.
We're already having to answer questions about you.
I know.
There were detectives here. They were showing us video of you. There were pictures of you. You've let yourself be seen.
I'm sorry, sister.
I did not teach you this. I taught you better than this. Killing innocents, letting your face be caught, getting shot.
Yes, sister.
Very, very, very disappointed in you.
I know, sister. But here, this is her fingernail and some of her blood. You can maybe find out what the drug is that's causing this. I don't think those old people, I don't think that compound is just to keep others out. I think it's to keep them in. I think Drebin's just experimenting on them like he experimented on the guy who became the eye thief. They're just using us like cattle.
Yes.
I know you're angry with me, sister, but... All right, I'm going. I won't be back to the Basilica, I promise. I'm sorry.
She points a very stern and kind of bony, sort of liver-spotted finger at you, Alvin. I'm holding you responsible. Get him here. Get him to the Desert Ridge Methodist Church. Speak to the Reverend. Get him patched up. You're responsible for him. Do you understand me? And she is full Catholic nun at this point.
Oh, yes, of course. Sister.
She begrudgingly grabs the bloody, evidence bag, or just probably like a Ziploc bag or something. Yeah, out of your hand. Reverend Wood. He'll know what to do.
I'm right, sister. This is bigger than any other hunt I've ever seen.
Go. So
I'm not drive off.
You drive off, yeah. Let's cut over to Maria as it's even now the sun is basically down. There's there's like the last ribbons of light as you can see the sun is now below the horizon. There's still a little bit left. What is Maria doing?
So Maria is basically driving off into the desert, basically to bury these bodies. And Maria, she's driving, and she just keeps kind of slamming her fist on the steering wheel, slamming her fist on the dashboard, and just being like, "You're so stupid. Why didn't you bring them somewhere else? You're so stupid. It's your fault. This is your fault. Not Rena, but Katja. All she ever did was help you. She's so stupid." And she just like, as she's driving, she just keeps like repeating that because she knows that Katja's death is on her. That of course Katja was going to react that way. Of course that's how that was going to play out. And so she's just driving out to, the desert, and she will.
Okay. So like
adrenaline will
okay.
make this a swift process.
All right. So you're like, I don't know, like maybe up towards Anthem or something like that. Kind of pull off westward along the way. Just gonna bury them. Is that the idea? Just in the middle of nowhere. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we just see, I guess, we see the headlights of the van as the sun gets further down, then comes dark, and then it's just Maria on the highway by herself. There are some other headlights here and there, and then slowly over time, like they kind of dip off and go into these different directions. You continue upwards on the 17, further and further and further north of the valley, and eventually you find a pull-off point. It makes sense. You note the nearest mile marker, and you kind of drive off. You hear the bump of first, like kind of the dirt side of the road, and then kind of further off into the actual desert itself to do the deed. We'll cut then at that point to Desert Ridge Methodist. Stephen, what is Desert Ridge Methodist like? Can you paint us a picture?
Yes. Desert Ridge Life United Methodist is the full name, because we like our names to be fancy here. It's the north side of Phoenix in a very affluent area. It's actually not too far from Whitehall. It is a big church. It seats like 2,000 people inside, and it's tucked between a shopping mall and a golf course. And there's just parking lot, like square miles of parking lot.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's so big.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's so big that it actually has multiple buildings. Like there is the actual church with the auditorium and everything, and a lot of rooms in there. And then there's a building in the back that has most of the offices for pastors and staff and things like that. And then there's another building just for maintenance.
So we'll presume that maybe Sister LeBlanc gave Alvin a number to contact along the way. Alvin, you pull into this massive parking lot of this super church complex. You dial the number. Does the Reverend Wood carry a cell phone?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Course.
You feel...
I'm a modern man.
Wonderful. You feel it buzzing, vibrating maybe in your pocket. Where would you be? We'll put it at around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, middle of the week. What is Reverend Wood doing, and what does he look like? Introduce us.
All right, so Reverend Wood is a early 50s man, very fit for his age, wears the clerical collar and everything. Around this time, he would be at his office, hands down. He's actually got his own private door to his office, and like a section of that building is just dedicated to him. There's a library in there, and his wife is his secretary. They've got a little parking spot around back. Would Sister LeBlanc have told me they were coming?
I would say that's probably fair, that maybe once Alvin peels out, she calls ahead and she warns you.
Okay.
She gets on the
phone.
phone.
I actually then would have gone over to the maintenance building and popped up the garage so that I'd be ready for them. They can just pull right in out of sight.
All right. And so at that point, Alvin, you're weaving around in the parking lot. You're looking for something, a sign. You see suddenly there is a man waving. The garage door is open and you drive the motorcycle right on in.
Reverend Wood, I presume. I'm
That
Alvin.
is me. Alvin and Quixote Rust. Well, I've seen you in better condition, haven't I?
He
Muted.
just can't talk right now. He might be passed out.
Reverend,
Oh,
it's good to see you, but yeah, I made a mess of things. I'm sorry for Alvin. I'm sorry for getting the blood all over your motorcycle, and I think I'm gonna pass out.
I
And he
quickly
passes
hit the
out.
button for the garage door.
He made it. He made it though all the way, and then he
He
passes
made it,
out
yeah.
now that he's here. You catch him, Alvin, right between the two of you before he kind of slams down to the ground. But you catch him so he doesn't hit the ground hard. Okay, and so now Alvin, Reverend Wood, two people who don't know each other, staring at each other. Both of you holding.
Alvin, there's an office in the back with the cot. If you don't mind helping me, we can take him there.
Yeah, of course.
And I would assuming Sister LeBlanc called me and like filled me in that he was like injured, I would have called Linda so she would be on her way.
And so as we'll say, or we can just say as you go into this room with the cot, Linda's waiting.
Okay.
So Ashley, tell us what Alvin sees and what we see as he and the Reverend kind of gently drag Rust in and lay him down on your cot. What do we see?
So it's a relatively large room, and there's this kind of utilitarian workshop bench where she's got a lot of weird looking supplies. There's like bottles of holy water on one side. She's got these like glass jars that look like they're supposed to be for candles. And then to the side, much smaller, is a medical cart. And she's got a cigarette and she's smoking inside as she's working. And she looks old. She looks like she's in her 70s. And she's just an average height woman, but she also looks oddly fit. Like she's got some biceps on her as she's smoking, and you can see she looks buff. And she turns, this fucking kid's gonna get blood all over my shit. Are you
Now,
fucking
Linda.
kidding me?
Language, Linda.
Coyote wakes up for just a second. Please don't cut off my Baja shirt. It's the only one I own. And then passes back out.
Oh no.
Can you help him, Linda?
Yeah, I can help him. We might have to take him. You might need more than I can do here. I got all my surgical tools at home.
He sent out his word and healed them and delivered them from their destruction. Psalm 107, verse 20. Just do what you can.
All right. You're the man. And she will put out her cigarette just on her workbench and just kind of leaves it there, and she'll drag her cart over to Quixote, and she's going to heal him.
Okay, so this is going to be an intelligence plus medicine. Difficulty is equal to the total aggravated damage. So how much is that, Rust?
That's 5.
Difficulty is 5. Does Alvin or Reverend Wood have any skill in medicine, perhaps, that could maybe serve as nurse or
I do
assistant?
not.
Yeah, I have 2 points in it, actually.
Okay. Well, why don't we say Alvin lends you a hand, and
Okay.
so you can take +1.
And we
I have-
also have if I added up correctly, 9 audience
Okay.
donations.
You can take one of those if you want.
What about, I have specialty medicine trauma care. Would
That would apply here for sure. Yeah. So you get your that's just a normal mechanic. So you get your specialty would apply in this situation.
I haven't ever rolled my specialty before. Do I just add?
It's just a
Bonus die.
It's just a bonus die. Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you can just roll intelligence, medicine, and then +3 basically for Alvin, audience, and specialty.
2, 3,
4, 5 successes.
5 successes is successful. So that is a success. You do manage to. It's a little slow going at first, maybe, but eventually you get the bullet out. So
Yeah, she's already lit another cigarette as she's over like his chest wound, and she's like setting it down as she's digging in, and she's got these like those really long, thin pointed like plier things, and it's like she's playing that like doctor game where you're trying to pull stuff out, and she's just going in, and then she's sewing you up.
So the amount of healing you get is going to be equal to half of your medicine rating rounded up. So your medicine rating is a 3. Is that correct,
I have
Linda?
a 3, yeah.
So that means you would get, so that rounded up to 4. So you would get 2 health back, Rust.
That takes it takes him down to superficial instead of aggravated.
Correct. Yeah.
And then the superficial will clear at the beginning of next session.
Or if you all decide to take a couple days, then we could say it'll heal that way. Or if basically the storyteller can always say that if enough time has passed between scenes, you can always do it then too. So and that's going to depend on you guys. All right. So we'll say Quixote he's the bullet's out, no danger. Doesn't look like it's going to have some recovery time. Probably going to be some pain, but he is, we'll say, recuperating in the cot of this garage. He's sleeping. Linda, Reverend Wood, Alvin, you're here. You three, you doing anything? Talking about anything?
Alvin, I suppose it is time for proper introductions. I'm the Reverend Dr. Solomon Wood. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is also mine. I'm Alvin Dow. Are you in association with Sister LeBlanc?
Loosely affiliated. We both have the same goals in mind, if not part of the same organization.
I see. So both you and Linda, hunters, I presume, then?
Yep. By trade.
By trade.
Seems.
Would you care to fill us in what happened with Mr. Rust here?
I mean, best as I can. I only heard a brief moment what Russ told me. Cell seems to be in a bit of trouble. A couple of casualties. A Katya, Maria's mentor. She sent over almost like a daughter in our cell, and she acted up, went crazy taking a drug. Taken out by Rust here. When Katya heard the news, well, gunfire happened, and this is the result.
A drug, you say? What sort of drug?
I know little about it, but it causes rage. Enhanced strength, I would say.
Why don't Linda and the Reverend Wood, why don't you two roll intelligence streetwise? If you have it. Yeah.
Is Rust conscious while this conversation is going on, or is he out?
I would say he's probably out, I would think. I don't know.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought too.
Yeah.
I got a 4.
A 4? Okay.
4 successes.
2.
2. Okay. I would say that the two of you probably have heard rumors. And I would say, Linda, you've probably not just heard rumors. You've probably, as a medic, have maybe come across some of the ramifications of this drug. It's called dust. And it definitely has been with your medical knowledge, I know you're not a doctor, medical doctor, but you have medical training.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point you've probably stitched up some people who have had encounters with folks or you've dealt with somebody who has either taken this stuff or has been the victim of somebody who has taken this stuff. But it very much has a kind of PCP angel dust kind of quality to it. And so the rumor is that it's just a lot of people just assume it's some sort of new version of it necessarily, but it's just the street name that you've heard. It's just dust. Reverend Wood, you might have heard some of your patrons and such maybe have mentioned it. Maybe there's concern, children, etc. but maybe not. Maybe you haven't had any firsthand experience with only 2 successes. But the 2 of you would be familiar with this kind of rumor that's going around.
Yeah. You've heard about PCP. It's some terrible stuff. Dust. Now that's some serious shit. It sounds like that's what y'all are
Linda.
dealing with. I keep forgetting I'm on this holy ground. Light me on fire, Reverend.
It's okay. The Lord forgives.
Thank you. Some habits I'm still trying to break.
But yes, as Linda says, this is a very serious issue that has begun to taint our community.
I didn't realize that it had supernatural connotations, or is he just a cell killer?
He's a special one. He can feel the supernatural, but I don't know how it really works.
I'm special too, and I haven't killed my own cellmates.
They were really our cellmates. We're kind
That's fair. Rena, you can make an argument. Katya now. Katya was just she was an ally.
She shot first.
That is true. She did. She did.
All right, well, I'm not going to get into
When he awakens, we can hear his side of the story, and then we shall
Okay.
let the Lord judge.
And then my gun can follow if the Reverend decrees. But I do my Reverend's dirty work as needed.
So
By dirty work, she means our gardening.
So we'll briefly cut then out to the desert. Hours have passed. Grave, separate graves or one grave, Maria?
She is looking to punish herself, so she's going to take the time to dig 2.
Okay. It's going to take you even longer. I'll tell you what. Roll a stamina, I'll say athletics test. We'll put the difficulty at 6.
6?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. I guess I'll take an audience, so I'm at least rolling 4 dice and hope for some crits.
You did say you wanted to punish yourself. I am just following your lead.
Facilitator.
How many successes?
2.
Okay. So it's going to take you until we'll say about 3-4 o'clock in the morning to do this, to get it all done. The digging the holes, dragging them in. It's hard. You know how it is. It's hard caked earth out in the desert. It's not. We are not a moist climate. So very hard caked earth. But if you do it, however, you're exhausted by the end of it. Take 4 superficial health damage purely from exhaustion.
Oh. Ooh. Okay, then.
Difference between the difficulty and how you succeeded. And so 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock comes around in the morning. You haven't been interrupted. No rain, no windstorms, nothing. It's been absolutely and utterly quiet out here. You bury the 2 of them. Do you make any marking or any kind? It doesn't have to be like...
No.
Okay.
Definitely no marking. She will kind of kneel first to Rena. You were a pain in the ass. You really were. But I don't know. Maybe he'll learn from this. Maybe that'll be what comes from this. Maybe he'll think a little more. But I'm sorry. So I'll go over to Katya and kneel down. And basically no words will come, and you'll just see just tears. And she'll just be there for a good 5-10 minutes, and she'll get up, head down, walk back to the van, and look for, as she's driving back, she wants to try to find one of those like full self-service car wash kinds of places that are kind of open 24 hours that, you know, have the hoses and everything.
Sure. I think that you certainly could find that once you kind of get back into,
Yeah.
you know, once you get back
down
to the city.
valley.
You guys
Yep.
you're about 45 minutes outside of the valley at this point as you drove northward. But once you get past that and you get back into town, you see the normal signs of civilization again. You can certainly do that. So we'll say it's, 5 a.m. or so by the time you get back into the city. You take the time as best you can. And it's early in the morning, so there's like no one around when you do this, which is actually strangely beneficial. And you continue. And by the time you're done, the sun is up. Or at least you can see the sunset rising. We'll cut back. We'll say night has also probably passed for you all. Alvin, would you have stayed with Rust or would you have gone home?
I would have gone back,
Okay.
clean up a bit, and the only outfit I had to change into was my judo uniform.
Okay.
I would have found him a coat or something to wear while he's on the motorcycle.
Okay. It's very kind. So considerate.
That way he doesn't have all the blood on his back
So
as he's
considerate.
riding.
It's true. There is a lot of blood on your back. You probably should just throw that away.
Yeah, true.
Not sure you
Scared
want.
of it.
Not sure you want Lucia or Celie to see that. So, Alvin, you eventually make it back home, middle of the night at some point. Your wife's already asleep. The door to the bedroom's closed. You look at your couch. There's a pillow and there's a blanket.
Not the couch again.
The couch again. You sprawl out. Go to sleep. Linda, Reverend, did you do anything during the middle of the night?
I would be staying up with Quixote, I think. I would have called my wife, Sarah, and told her to go ahead and go home, and that I'll stay at the church.
Okay.
And I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't hide any details from her. I would tell her that there's a man here who needs my care.
Okay. What about you, Linda?
If you don't need me, I'm gonna go to sleep in my bed. You got my number?
Of course. Get some rest.
I'll bring. Let me know if I need to bring anything special tomorrow morning.
I'll let you know if I need anything, but you get a good night's rest because tomorrow may be a big day. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for the Lord makes me dwell in safety. Psalms 4, verse 8.
Right. Amen. And she leaves.
Well done, sir. Okay. Reverend, why don't you make an awareness wits?
Okay, 1 second. I gotta relearn what my skills are here.
Yeah, no problem.
That is 1 success.
Okay. Remember that you can spend willpower if you wanted to reroll anything.
Yeah, I only had 2 dice, so there's not much
Okay.
use spending willpower there.
All right. You, at some point, maybe you nod off as you're kind of sitting nearby. Maybe you have the good book out, you're reading, or maybe you're prepping.
I'm not as young as I used to be.
Sure. You nod off. And then a little bit before dawn, you wake up to the sound of Rust. But when you look over, like his eyes are closed. You can see he's not really kind of moving around too much. And you just hear, like from his mouth, you just hear, the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. And at that point, once he finishes it, a window in your little office here, that's one of those pull-down shutters, suddenly shoots straight up into the air. This ridiculously loud noise. And then when you look back, you see Quixote is sitting right angle, vertical, up in bed.
Mr. Rust, you're awake.
Reverend, there are things
How are you
going
feeling,
on,
my son?
Reverend. There are things going on, Reverend.
Yes,
I
there
need-
are. But first, how are you feeling? Are you well?
No, Reverend. My heart's breaking and my soul's in jeopardy, and I need you to help me.
I will help you, my son. Those who conceal their sins do not prosper, but those who confess and renounce them find mercy. Proverbs 28, verse 13.
Thank you, Reverend. I earlier today or yesterday, I'm not sure. There was an innocent woman, a hunter. I killed her. She was just hurting and angry, and she shot me. And she probably had the right to shoot me and I shot her back. And she died. And I can't ever make that right, Reverend. I swore I would never take an innocent life. And I put her down, and I can't.
Rust, one moment, my son. You said she shot at you.
Reverend,
She shot at you?
She shot me first, but
So how innocent was she?
She was just angry because I killed a woman that she thought of as her daughter, Rena. She was a gig hunter who was working the same case as our cell against a master vampire and this guy named Dr. Drebin. And she did something stupid. She took this drug. We knew it was bad. It was this drug. It caused people to turn feral. They fed it. They're feeding it to these old people. And then they fed a whole busload of homeless people to them. They were running around on all fours and tearing people.
This hunter you killed, you said she took this drug as well?
She took it on a lark. We were driving back with the drugs, and we knew they were dangerous, and we were bringing them back to get analyzed. And she broke it up and she snorted it. She just did these things. It was just so stupid. And then I prayed to God. I prayed.
The scripture tells us, no wonder, for even Satan disguised himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. Their end will correspond to their deeds. 2 Corinthians 11, verse 14 through 15.
Reverend, she wasn't bad. She was just selfish. But she started
How
to
long
change.
have you known her, Rust?
2 days. Two. But Maria's mentor, the woman I killed, she was like her daughter, but she started to change, and I knew she was going to hurt Maria, and we
Rust,
lost.
I will not tell you that you are without blame, but there were circumstances, and in our line of work, there are tough decisions. You defended yourself. You stayed to the cause.
I believe in the cause, Reverend. Mission first, team second, self last. Face the supernatural, defeat the supernatural. Protect the innocents. But I failed so bad, and Maria will never forgive me. The sister LeBlanc will never forgive me. I don't know that I ever can, and she's coming back for me, Reverend. The sister doesn't believe it, but I can feel Granny
Rust,
Longlegs
there is only
staring
one
back
person's
at me.
forgiveness that you should be seeking.
The Lord. I beg for the Lord's forgiveness. with my every breath, Reverend. He
And
saved
you have
me.
already received it. These are dark days. These are dark times. And I cannot say that you will feel good about this. You'll look back on this with shame for the rest of your life. But there is the mission. There is the cause. We must learn to compartmentalize.
You're right, Reverend. Thank you. Thank you. Is it okay if I stay here for a while? I need to feel his touch. There's so much darkness around me now.
The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and is safe. Proverbs 18, verse 10. Russ, you may stay here as long as you need.
Thank you, Reverend. She didn't cut up my shirt, did she? It's the only one I own.
Russ, there is a mall across the street. When it opens, I will buy you whatever shirt you would care to have.
But only with cash, right, Reverend?
Of course, only with cash.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend.
Reverend.
I don't have a cell phone either, but I go through those very fast. I don't know if it's a good idea.
No, I understand. I have a stash of burner phones as well that I keep in my office. I activate them as needed.
Thank you, Reverend. But whoever
Trust,
did the stitch work she did a really good job. I remember hearing
excellent
her voice.
staff. I do have one question.
Yes, Reverend.
You were singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider earlier in your sleep. Does that mean anything to you?
And his face just goes dead white. He's like, Reverend, I told you she's coming back for me. Granny Longlegs, that demon that lived inside of me. I keep seeing her in the mirrors waving back at me. Sister just said I was tired. But that's the darkness that's closing in around me. She's trying to get back in. I'm fighting it with all the gifts that the Lord has provided me, but I need sanctuary and I need help.
Reverend, as he's talking, you're sitting there, you're listening dutifully, you're staring him in the face. You notice behind him, it's been happening over the course of this whole conversations, but it's sort of now kind of coming into focus, is you notice the wall behind the plaster. There's cracks that you've noticed that are kind of like radiating out. His head is sort of centered, and there's like his shadow from where the light is kind of coming down on his head and casting the shadow onto the wall. And you just see like these different cracks just kind of coming out of the shadow where his head is on the wall. And as you after you ask the question, and Russ starts going into how she's back, you notice something is, a little chip of the wall just falls. It's a little tiny chip. And you see pushing out from the crack, you see some little tiny spider just sort of busts out. It's not uncommon for Arizona. Just sort of busts out of the wall and starts crawling up it. That's when you notice that cracks, you start looking at them. You're a smart man. You're a doctor. You start adding them up. There's like 8 cracks kind of going off in different directions, radiating out from the shadow of Rust's head. And this long-legged spider just bursts out of one of those cracks and starts crawling up the wall.
Rust.
Reverend.
As the scripture says, when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. Luke 11, verse 24. This Granny Longlegs, as you call it, I fear that she will never leave you alone. But you must stay strong, resist, stay on the cause. And then I'll get up and I'll roll like a magazine or something nearby, and I'll just swat that spider on the wall.
You do. Down it goes. It's still pretty.
Russ just falls to his knees at the Reverend's feet. He's like, Reverend, you've saved me. Thank you,
the
sir.
Lord is the only one who can save.
Then thank the Lord for you being here to help guide me back into the light.
We'll get you there, my son.
Reverend, roll a awareness wits test.
I'm so good at awareness. I've got 2 wits.
You've got.
I'll take
audience.
intelligence instead.
2 successes, though.
Okay. I would have taken intelligence too. That's fine. But wits is I usually
I
do.
have 2 intelligence as well.
Okay. You watch as Russ drops down into his knees. It's almost imperceptible, and maybe you're just tired. You've been up most of the night. Maybe it's just imperceptible. But he could have sworn, just for a moment, that that his shadow that's cast on the wall hesitated. And there was like this too long delay between when Russ drops to his knees and when the shadow that should follow him instantly does in fact finally follow. There's a whole heartbeat in between it.
The Reverend's eyes linger on the place where the shadow was, but he doesn't say anything to Rust.
Rust is just weeping. I mean, just a weeping mess. But
Okay. So, if you have something else, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was going to say, we'll cut to Maria. You're back in county. You're back in the city. You've cleaned your van. You're exhausted. It's 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning. You going home? Calling anyone?
I would. Yeah, I feel like she would go home.
Okay.
She would text Alvin. And just say, let me know what's next.
Okay. To go home. We'll say a few hours pass for everyone. It's a late morning because it was a late night. Alvin, you spend some time with your family. You're getting the cold shoulder from your wife, but your daughter is extraordinarily happy to see you. You see her off for school. Maybe you walk with her to school, whatever it might be. You eventually get a text from Maria fairly early. Linda, you go do Linda's stuff at her own place. But we'll say a couple hours are going to pass. How much time? You all tell me. How much time is going to pass before you all start to connect again with each other? Who does it?
That would probably rely on Maria, because
Yeah.
Quixote doesn't have a phone, and I never actually grabbed Alvin's number.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
I'll
would
do-
just be taking care of Quixote as long as he wants.
And Linda would head back to the Reverend first thing in the morning.
Okay. What about you, Alvin?
Yeah, I'll just show up back at the church.
Okay. We'll
And
say
then I'll let Maria know that I'm there if she wants to show up at all.
So we'll say morning. We'll say maybe like midday, lunchtime-ish type. So Maria, you get some rest when you go home as best you can. You can recover your stamina, and you go ahead. And this is one of the situations where you can take your stamina back if you want. So you can take 2 superficial, I think, because you have 2 stamina.
Great.
Eventually, you hear from Alvin. Alvin shoots you an address. Text message fills you in. Linda, you head back. Reverend and Quixote are back where you found them. There's shopping bags from across the street, the mall. Quixote's got some new clothes on. Alvin has just showed up. Maria, you get the text from Alvin. Do you go as well, or what do you do?
Maria wants to keep busy. She's exhausted. I think she sort of poured all of her energy out into the, burying the bodies and digging the graves and doing all of that. And so at this point, there's still work to be done.
Okay.
No rest for the weary kind of a thing.
Do you go meet Alvin then at the address he sends?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll say 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that, midday. All of you converge on Desert Ridge Methodist on the garage office of Reverend Wood. One by one, you all arrive, and we'll say everyone's there. How is this going?
How is he, Reverend?
Tired, exhausted. He could do with some friendship. And when Maria gets there, I'd probably try to meet her outside.
And Linda would be cleaning Russ's wound. But like not very, her bedside manner is not the greatest. So she's got him like laid out on the cot, and she'll just reach over for the nearest source of water, which is those bottles of holy water that she's got on her workbench, and she's gonna dump some of that on his wound.
Nothing
and then
happens.
blot it and be like, "You want a drink of this too? Are you thirsty?"
Yeah. Thanks, doctor. Thank you, and for the
I'm
stitches.
Linda. Yeah, you're welcome.
Linda. Thank you, Linda. I'm Quixote. Most everybody just calls me Rust, but whatever is fine.
All right. So how did this?
Oh, another hunter shot me in the stomach because I killed her daughter. Well, not real daughter, but somebody that was like a daughter to her.
Okay.
So she shot me. Then I shot her.
We should. Okay.
I talked to the Reverend about it last night. He
Yeah.
understands.
Pause on that.
Okay,
So,
okay, Linda.
I'm gonna ask
Linda.
you again, and you're gonna come up with a different answer. How'd you get this gunshot wound?
I was on a trail and a hunter shot me on accident, and then he didn't want to get caught, so he ran off. And I called Alvin. He came and picked me up.
And Linda will give you a pat on your shoulder. All right. Good job.
Thanks, Linda.
I like Linda. Very pragmatic.
Mm-hmm. That's very smart.
Outside, we'll say Maria, the Reverend. Is Alvin part of this conversation? Or is
I'll be here.
Okay, so the three of you are outside. Linda is inside, tending to Rust, checking his bandages, etc. Three of you are outside.
Maria, is it?
Yeah, and she doesn't look like she's showered. Like she's pretty dirty, looks exhausted. And just because of, she's a plumber. And so whenever anybody kind of looks like they're about to shake a hand, she always just instinctively just like wipes her hands on her trousers. And so she just kind of wipes them. And yeah, Maria.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Solomon Wood. Your compatriot Rust is inside, and he told me some troubling stories last night. If you would, I would much appreciate hearing your truth of the matter.
Well, we've been on a job for a bit. There's some stuff going on with a drug. There's stuff going on with a elder care center, memory care center, stuff going on out west. And we had one of our crew died at the memory care center. She was her mind was taken over by something over there. And my mentor, you know how these things go with mentors in this work we do. She connected us to her daughter, niece, and young one just, thought she was invincible, thought she knew better than everybody. Got our hands on this drug, and she couldn't wait for us to find a way to test it, and she thought the best way to test it would just be snorting it.
As the scriptures say, the youthful vigor that fills your bones will leave you lying in the dust. Job 20, verse 11.
That couldn't be more true, actually, because when
it was
she
all
took
prophesied long ago.
Well, I would like to think that some things are a bit more in our control, but that one in there decided that when she started turning that the best course of action was to stab her in the head, and he is stronger than he looks. He killed her, but she didn't it's like she was trying to come back. She was dead, but then it's like she was regenerating or something. And from there on, it's my fault. I
No.
thought I should
No.
call her and tell her, but I should have known better than have the two of them together. And shots were fired, and here's where we are.
You cannot blame yourself for this.
Oh, I can, and I do.
You sought to honor a fallen soldier. You sought to honor your mentor. There was no easy decision to be made.
That one in there's he knows things. He senses things. But the thinking through of things, he's not there yet. And that's a danger to all of us.
I understand your concerns. What are your plans towards Rust?
He puts us in danger. He also senses danger that none of the rest of us can. He needs
as iron
to
sharpens
learn.
iron, so one person sharpens another. Proverbs 27, verse 17.
You better get sharp right quick. Lost 3 people in the last week.
There are no words for that loss. It will be felt by many across the city. But when we unite, when we unify, we make each other better. Rust needs you to make him better.
I don't know that I'm the one that should be doing the most talking to him right now.
That's fair. I would never ask you. I cannot ask you to forgive him. But there are just causes that we fight for. I would merely wish you to consider whether or not you will fight for that cause with Rust or by yourself, or will you give up the cause? And again, I'm not trying to pressure into a decision now, but
Not
these are things that you must
any
think
of
about.
that right now. He knows we're on a job. When you're on a job, you finish the job. That's as simple as it is for me right now.
So if you see Rust, we don't have to worry about violence or anything like that.
I told him yesterday the lesson I need him to learn is that you don't kill first. And I apply that to myself.
I will do everything in my power to help him learn this lesson as well. Now, you seem exhausted and tired. We have showers here on site. We have cots and beds if you wish. Could I help you?
If I cared about showering, I would have done it in the comfort of my own home. Here.
Fair
Figure out
enough.
what we're gonna do.
And I give her a little smile. Come on in. Let us get acquainted. Rust is inside with Linda. She is a groundskeeper here, but she has many, many talents.
Alvin? Is everyone safe at home?
They're fine, thanks. And my condolences to Katya. But let's
Go
see
inside.
how Russ is doing.
Guess go inside. Linda and Rust are there. All 5 of you are together. It's tense. Certainly tense in here, especially as Maria and Russ kind of see each other to some degree. Reverend, you still see that kind of cascading bit of cracks in the wall, but no more spiders seem to be moving at the moment. Where do we go from here, guys? I'm going to turn it over to you, and you tell me.
I wish we could have met under better circumstances. I know that there is a dark cloud looming over us, but I take comfort knowing that this situation we're in was prophesied long ago. These are those whom the Lord has sent to patrol the earth. Zechariah 1, verse 10. The Lord will not give us more than we can manage. We will find a way to unify. We can continue to fight the cause.
Yeah, it's great and all, Reverend, but I've been thinking the past couple of days, ever since that Dr. Drebin came back. He's got pictures of our families. He's watching all of us. And I can't let anything happen to them. So these werewolves he's talking about, I plan on taking them down.
And you wish for Drebin to continue on his merry way?
No, but it's the best I can do now. It's the best I can do for my family.
Of course, your family is always welcome to take shelter here on the church as well. I hope you know that. And Maria, I hope you know that you're always welcome here as well.
Sure. Ma'am, I don't think we've been introduced.
Linda, pleasure's all mine. And she'll reach out like a hand, a very wrinkly hand, to shake your hand.
Maria, nice to make your acquaintance.
Rust is looking pretty sheepdoggish, but he finally looks up. He's like, Alvin, I know I probably don't have the right to speak here. I've got no one. And I understand what you're saying. But if we let monsters tell us who we can hunt, doesn't that just make us the lackeys of the monsters we're trying to put down? No better than their ghouls or their Renfields?
I see what you're saying, Rust. And you're not alone. You've got this cell.
Rust makes a valid point. Beware of false prophets who come to you in the sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Matthew 7, verse 15.
I mean, we know he
Basically.
made that eye thief. And I know he's making those old people into those monsters. He had as much admitted it when he was at Elaine's wake.
And this
He's not
drug,
going to stop.
dust, it's called, right, Linda?
Yeah.
It's
It's
supernatural, Reverend. You can feel it when you're in its presence.
It will corrupt our community. I
Because
will not say that werewolves should live, and I will help you in any way I can, but there's something pervasive about this drug as it's working its way through Phoenix.
One of the first things we learned had something to do with a nightclub that this drug was popping up at, and we've just had so many things going on with Whitehall and with Sunset Trails that we haven't had a chance to go check out Fervor. But that was something that we were looking into. The drug seems to be connected to that club. I've been told it's just about the kind of establishment that this kind of thing would go fairly unnoticed.
Maybe if we wanted to keep our heads down for a couple of days, we could check out that angle and make sure that that's the same drug that they're feeding to those old folks in that walled off compound. Maybe at least if we can connect the dots, we might be able to find out where the actual supplier manufacturer is of the drugs and trace it back to its origin. That's more low key than actually attacking the vampire.
Dina
I don't know.
would have told you that what she learned from Yvette was that there is a Dr. Drebin who has manufactured that drug, and that's where they're getting that from.
Okay. So we know Drebin's involved in the manufacturing. Now we just got to piece it all together, make sure it's the same drug, and figure out why he's doing it.
Now, what is up with this Sunset Trails nonsense? What were y'all doing up there?
That compound it's an old folks home, supposedly a trailer park. It's got really high walls, but what it really is a testing ground for this drug. Dr. Drebin and his medics take the drugs in and feed them to everybody who lives there. Lockroom control security is controlling it. I think actually those walls are also meant to keep them in when they have to feed. They brought a busload of homeless people in while we were reconning it a few nights ago. They let them off the bus, and those old people dropped down to all fours, some of them. And they went howling and screaming into the night, faster and stronger than any human I've ever seen. And they tore those homeless people apart and ate them alive. That's what I think Reno is turning into. We fought him in the atrium of the control room. They were stronger. I plunged a knife. I shot one and didn't even phase him at first. They're not human anymore after they start taking the drug. And then Alvin, didn't you tell us that at your school, one of your students was taking that drug, and it took a half a dozen of your guys to hold him down after he nearly killed one of your other students?
Yeah, you're right. I haven't checked up on him.
You guys hear a knock at the door, and it's one of those like quick knocks, like just for courtesy's sake. But then the door cracks open, and we see a woman kind of poke her head in. You can see she's got a little kind of bag at this point. And we're not a bag, I should say, but she's got what looks like this Baja shirt on a hanger, like it's been washed. What does she look like, Stephen?
Reverend Wood would just start beaming as soon as he sees her. He kind of lights up a little bit. She's also a mid-50s woman, a little bit plumper. She obviously works a desk. But she has a very kind smile, long hair that's become graying.
She got a big butt.
I've been sitting down all day, but
dressed very conservatively.
Okay. She steps in. I'm very sorry to interrupt. Hello, darling. I just your Mr. Rust, your shirt is done. I just wanted to get it freshly cleaned.
Thank you so much, dear. You
This
are
is
just
Wood.
an
As
angel.
soon as Miss
Thank you
Wood
so
steps in,
much.
you see Linda immediately is like puts out her cigarette. Miss Wood, pleasure.
She hello, Linda. Little sniff of the nose. It's good to see you as always. But you can tell she knows. She caught you.
Yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't say anything.
She's
It's
though.
been a
she's doing
long
it to be
night.
polite because she knows she doesn't
Mhm.
like it.
And she looks around at the new faces, at Alvin, at Maria. I'm sorry to interrupt. Hello, I'm
Oh,
Sarah.
of course, I'm the worst at introductions.
terrible.
Apologies.
So
I
rude.
really am. I really am. We have Mr. Rust, who I believe you know from our Good Samaritan Refuge, and then this here is
I
Alvin
do.
Teo. You said,
Ow. Yeah.
and
Mr. Tao.
Maria. I don't believe I caught your last name. I'm sorry.
Baum.
She looks over at Maria, who, by the way, hasn't taken a shower, took a nap when she got home. You had some blood on you. You've got some dirt on you. You don't look particularly great. And so she turns to you, and you can tell that Sarah tries to, like, she maintains that aura of, like, you know, niceness and decency, but there's a momentary blip, like, you can tell as she, oh, hello. I'm Sarah Wood. This is our little place.
She's the only reason this place keeps running.
Oh, stop it! You know,
I
that's not
swear I'd
true.
be lost without her.
Well, that part's true.
It's true.
Yes. Can I get any of you anything? Something to drink? Something to eat? Anything at all?
Mrs. Wood,
I'm
thank you so much for my shirt. Do you have any milk?
I'm sure I can find some. Not a problem, of course.
I'm perfectly fine, dear. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And she kind of comes over and she just sort of, like, you see she just sort of wipes something off your, like, off the shoulder of your shirt, and you look kind of down and you realize there's some crumbled plaster from when you swapped the wall that's kind of still lingering there. I thought maybe it was, the rest of you might have just considered it dandruff maybe. But as you look down and you see her swatted away, you can tell, Reverend, that it's the little bits from the wall.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. I'll be over to the office soon for a change of clothes.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go about your business, and I'll be back with
You're
your
never
milk.
interrupting.
Oh, stop it. And you can see she just wait. I'll be back with your milk. Bye-bye. She steps on out.
Well, there's been much talk about dust. Alvin, you said that you wish to go after the werewolves. Is there any chance we have swayed you a different direction?
Yes, this drug. I was also interested in it. If we can track it and trace it somehow, that would lead to Trevin, but it is dwelling in his interests. It always comes back to Drebin. We have to take him out, or my family will always be in danger.
That's right. He's the spider, or one of the spiders in the middle of the web.
We need to be smart. The spider web is a decent analogy. Takes care.
And there is the question that if Drebin wishes you to take out the werewolves, what does he gain from that?
Sounds like we got some surveillance to do. We need to figure out what's happening with the drugs at that. What is it, a club?
Fervor.
I don't know if I would fit in with the demographic exactly. But it sounds like we got to do some research on those lockroom folk Cody was telling us about. And we should probably look maybe into those werewolves. What does Drebin benefit from those being removed? Is it drug competition? What is it?
Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Ephesians 5, verse 11.
Exactly. We do our research, and then we figure out the best way to deal with it.
Amen, Father. Reverend. Amen. By the way, I'm not actually old enough to get into a club, and I don't have legal identification anyway, so I might need some help with that.
Well,
So
if you're not old enough to go in the club, then perhaps you should not.
yeah, even if it's
That's a good point. That's a good point, Reverend.
You're healing from a gunshot wound. Where did you get that wound from?
I got it from a hunter who accidentally shot me near a trailhead and then
That's
ran
what I
away because he
thought.
didn't want to go to the police.
Good job. We gotta
Rust.
keep working on that till it's a little bit more
That's what Miss Linda told me.
Linda,
that happened.
Rust, we need to be careful with what we encourage. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Proverbs 12, verse 19.
All right.
will
So
repent
Katya
once
shot
it-
me in the stomach because
no.
Perhaps, Rust, it's better that we just don't tell the story.
Yes, Reverend.
We're practicing in case he's detained by the law.
Oh, they'll just put me back in the mental institute. I'm escaped mental patient, criminal mental patient.
This is getting better and better.
Well, I wasn't really crazy. I was possessed by a demon for 10 years.
Linda, I actually like what you're doing. I think, Russ, one of the things we need to work on is thinking about what you're going to say, thinking about what you're going to do. Reverend, I know, truth will set you free and all that, but having a plan for what to say and who to say it to is quite wise.
Thanks. Backtracking. Reverend, did he tell you that he was possessed by a demon?
We had a discussion, yes.
Is he clean?
Let me worry about that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, I
Sister
guess that's your
LeBlanc
problem.
pulled it out of me, and apparently my own gifts help push it out, but she's always waiting to come back. Isn't that right, Reverend?
Rust, do not be anxious about anything. Philippians 4, verse 6.
Amen, Reverend. I'll work on Maria. I'll work on it. I'll think more.
Linda turns to
I gotta
Russ.
say,
If my little building back here gets haunted, and because she's trying to say this so that Russ doesn't hear, but she looks at you like, Reverend,
This is holy ground, Linda.
Okay. I don't want any of that nonsense. I've seen a ghost show once about that, and I had nightmares.
speaking of anxious, Reverend, I had a very long night. We've done some talking about what we're going to do. I had not dragged my ass out of bed this morning to come around here and just talk some more.
It's fair. That's fair. What do you suggest?
I wouldn't call this just talking. We've never met y'all before. It's an exchanging of information, which I feel is necessary if you're looking for others to help take up your cause. That, not to be mean, but you have been failing thus far.
Should have never split up. That was my fault. We should have just tackled one part of it at a time, but maybe if those of you who can go to the club, and the rest of us stay in the van and listen in, and then if you need us, we can be there to help.
So Russ, you're not old enough to go into the club.
I mean, I don't know exactly when I turned 21, but the sister tells me I'm only 20, and I don't actually have a social security number or
How many years have you been 20?
Just the last few months, I think. She told me I was 18 or almost 18 when she busted me out of the insane asylum, and that was 2 years ago.
Oh.
I've been on the streets
Rust,
for 2 years.
As much as I value your fervor and your dedication, perhaps considering the circumstances of the past few days, any sort of investigation, you should sit out.
I think
Perhaps
you're
you
right,
stay
Reverend.
here, you rest.
I could do that. I could do that, Reverend.
Russ, didn't you manage the drone?
Yeah, I did. And I drove for the first time your van, remember, and I didn't wreck it. And I drove your drone too.
Yeah. You can probably do that again.
Okay, I could do that. I could sit in the van and drive the drone while you go in. And I won't come in unless you ask me to.
All right. One of these days we'll look into getting you a proper identification. Not today.
Can I be 21 when we get it?
That would be most useful.
Okay.
So, some of you are going clubbing. Who are the people who are going clubbing?
I'll ask Sarah for permission, but I'll go.
She comes out and she says, she comes back in eventually at some point, brings back Rust a big old glass of milk.
Thank you, Miss Woods.
It's perfectly cold, the condensation on the side. And she says, you don't need to ask my permission. If you want to go clubbing, you have fun. I trust you,
Sarah,
of course.
now, you know my thoughts on drinking.
Well, I didn't...
I will not partake. It is an investigative mission, purely.
There are people there you can reach. And when you want to help those that are in the darkness, you have to sometimes go into the darkness to pull them out.
That's why Jesus was accused of being friends with prostitutes and drunkards, because those were where he was needed most.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends are prostitutes and drunkards.
That's very...
I mean, they've got
You're able to
boxes
reach
right
them.
right down from where I usually have my box. They've got boxes.
Oh, well...
Some of them, not the ones that make a lot of money, but some of them. Out by the university. That's where I normally bivouac.
Maria's going to go over to Rust, and she's just going to kind of elbow him.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Maria. Thank you for the milk, Mrs. Woods.
You're welcome. I'll leave you to it, and of course you can go. You don't need my permission anyway. So she comes over, and you see she does it again. She kind of comes up to your shoulder. You look down, and you realize there's like a couple chunks of that. It's almost like this moment of deja vu where it happens again, and she just sort of swipes it off. It's like, you're just so messy today. Oh,
I'm sorry. I'll go with you now and change my shirt.
okay. So you two leave. Rest of you stay. What's the plan? Let's walk through the plan here. Who's going into this club?
Now, mind you,
We're going-
Linda looks like she's in her 70s.
Okay.
So
I look like I'm in my 50s.
Alvin looks like he's in his 30s. Maria looks like she's in her 40s. Rust got shot, so
yeah.
Yeah, he should stay up.
who's going?
Rust is
into
staying
this
in the
club?
van. Rust is going to stay in the
Okay.
van and potentially pilot the drone.
Okay. So are all of you driving there? I'm assuming this is going to happen later, obviously, when the club is open.
Right.
So if you-
Yeah.
Okay. Alvin, are you going in?
Yeah, I'll be going in.
Okay, Alvin's going in.
I'll be driving separately than Rust, I think, or at least I'll be in the back seat.
Okay.
Not the,
I can't drive, Reverend. I don't have a driver's license, but I can. I mean, I can drive. I did it once for like 2 miles, and I didn't hit anything.
So Alvin's going in. Russ is staying in the van that is freshly cleaned, but there's lingering specks here and there, perhaps. Reverend, are you really driving separately?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take my Lexus.
Okay, of course you do. Then Maria and Linda, what are you two doing?
Linda will suggest to Maria, I think we should probably head there a little bit before it opens and do some scouting out.
That's fine. Maria will plan to go in she will actually then take Mrs. Woods up on the offer
Okay.
to clean up a little bit. So she'll plan on going in and getting there a little bit early, setting the drone
Okay.
rotation.
All right, so we'll fast forward then through. We'll presume everyone cleans up, everyone gets food, everyone contacts the people they need to contact about this, and we'll move forward. And we'll say that it's early in the night. The Club Fervor is not yet open. Will open soon. You can see the sun is going down, but you are downtown Phoenix. You are not too very far from Central City, actually. So this is sort of in a more industrial district. And everyone's there, split up into however many cars. Maria, you said you want to get your drone out and going. Go ahead and give us your drone control, your jockey roll. And then what else is everyone doing? How are they positioning? What's the plan?
I will be coming in after it opens up.
Okay. So Alvin, you'll just kind of eventually, as you start to see a line begin to form outside, you'll see a handful of others. You are admittedly a little bit older than some of the folks here, but not to the point where you stand out too terribly. So it's not too. You got maybe a couple people look here and there, but for the most part, you're fine. But you can. You see a handful of other folks, mostly groups of people here and there. You don't really see anyone else kind of lingering by themselves. And so you start to wonder maybe if it's just the sheer fact that you're here solo as opposed to like in groups with people that is maybe catching the attention, not so much the age. So Maria, how'd you do on your roll?
4 successes.
Okay. That's all you need. That's the difficulty. So you get your drone up and running. Are you handing control over to Quixote? And going in with Alvin?
Yeah.
Or okay. So Quixote, you've done this before. You take the control. You take the tablet controls over from Maria.
And Quixote gives everybody, pulls out the burner phone that the Reverend gave him and gives everybody his new burner phone number in case they need to call him from inside.
Okay. So you go ahead and. So Linda, you said you want to do some basic scouting. So walk me through since this sort of pre-game scouting. What is it you're looking to do?
She's basically gonna kind of rough herself up a little bit and look more like maybe like she's a little bit down on her luck, and she's just gonna kind of watch the comings and going of who is coming in and out of this building, maybe walk around and find any entrances and exits, fire escapes, etc.
Okay. Go ahead and we'll say roll. Let's do like a wits awareness, we could say. I'll take intelligence too, if you prefer.
Okay.
Or if there's something else that you're looking to roll, just call it out.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
A 6, a 6, a 4, and a 4.
Sorry, I'm getting my club music up. I have a whole
I
spread
heard it.
of club
I like
music.
it.
I have like 6 different things I can play. Okay. So, Linda, you're wandering around a bit. You can hear this muted sounds of music coming from it. It's still not open yet, but you can hear they're kind of maybe doing sound checks, kind of making sure the AV system is working. And you're kind of moving around. You can see Alvin split off, and eventually Maria joins him. The two of them are kind of waiting in the line for the doors to open. Reverend and Quixote, assuming, are staying back. Linda, you're wandering around. How many successes do you have in total?
I got 2 6s and 2 4s.
Okay, so total of 2 successes then. Two 6s.
Yeah,
you need a
'cause 4s
6.
don't count.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Aren't 6s crits though?
no.
10s are crits.
10s are crits.
10s. Got it.
Did you roll D10s? I know it's been a couple
No,
weeks.
I rolled D6s.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wondered. I realized that maybe you're playing the
Hello?
wrong game right now.
I am definitely playing the wrong game right
Did you
now.
roll anything else tonight? Did you?
No wonder her dice have
Not
been
really.
so awful the past few sessions.
Yeah, really. Oh, goodness.
This is the one time, okay? Where are all my D10s? I'm just rolling on here.
Yeah, it's fine. You can use the digital if you need to for now. realize you all need tokens on here to see.
Okay, so it matches out. Just one success.
Okay.
And you can also spend willpower if you want to re-roll any of those dice.
Yeah, I'll do a willpower.
Okay.
You get the 1 for 1, right?
It's
One
one.
free.
It's 1 for 3.
It's one to re-roll 3.
Oh, okay. Well, then I get a willpower back.
You're thinking
Still
of.
bad.
You're actually thinking of Orbital Blues as you 1-to-1 versus using exertion.
Ashley and I both were.
Okay, so
One more success.
okay.
Yeah.
So what's the total?
2 successes still.
Okay. 2 successes. It's okay. It's not. You're wandering around. You see the line. It's forming. You see a group of folks here and there. You notice, however, as you're the one thing that kind of catches your attention, we'll say, with only 2 successes, you're not going to get a ton. But there's one thing that does stand out. As you're there certainly is a front entrance. There's certainly a backfire entrance. It looks to be locked, and it also appears to actually have somebody guarding it. There's cameras everywhere, so you can see that's easily done. It's a very kind of crappy neighborhood, very industrial. You can see that there are what you would imagine are abandoned or empty factory sites here and there, or just full on empty lots where buildings have been torn down. Such there's an ambiance to it that you would imagine is probably intentional. And you notice that where some people are parked, some people kind of sort of walked here from further downtown. But there's no actual parking lots. Everyone's just sort of finding these random lots to park in and kind of just matriculate down the blocks. You notice that there is one vehicle, however, parked behind the club. And it's down this kind of alleyway between the building for Club Fervor and some unlabeled, which you would like out of business commercial store. At some point it was an outlet store. Some kinds no longer in business. And you notice as you come up, you do a double take really quick because you think it might be a cop car. And that's when you see the side. It looks very much like a cop car, but you realize it's actually a private security vehicle. And it has, and you've heard the name, lock room control on the side. There's no one in it, but you do see there's somebody standing kind of at the back door. They're not in uniform. They're not like in any kind of security uniform. They're just dressed kind of all in black. You'd imagine it's probably club staffer or something like this. And no one else is down the alleyway. That's the only person here. You don't see any kind of any sort of fire escape you said you were looking for. You don't see anything like that. This doesn't look like a club that is multi-storied. It might have definitely has like raised, kind of raised ceilings here and there. There's probably lofts and balconies on the inside, but you don't actually see like a proper multi-tiered levels stories like that. You do see that there are certainly like open windows on these slants at the very top. Has a very kind of brutalist look to it, the building. And you can see that there's some skylights and stuff that go out, and you can kind of tell by the flashing strobe lights that are kind of pulsing up through it. But that's all you really get as you move around.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. So Reverend, I know Kyoto, you're messing around with the drone. We'll come back to that in a sec. Reverend, what are you up to?
I think it's early enough that like the club hasn't opened yet. We said.
Yeah, it's getting ready to. You can tell it's about to. Linda's already gotten out of the car. She's moving around doing some scouting. Maria and Alvin.
Is there a line forming yet?
Yes, and Maria and Alvin have already gotten out of the car, and they're kind of standing in line. They're probably midway through the line.
I think I would join them in line. I'd get out of my car and I would grab my cane.
Okay.
And I would use it to kind of like hobble along. Like I look at like I have a limp.
Mm-hmm.
I probably still have my clerical collar on, but I'm wearing a black jacket and I have it zipped up so it kind of covers it a little bit more.
Okay.
And I would just kind of shuffle into line with them.
Okay. There are several people as you come up, and you're like you said, your collar is kind of peeking out, and people are right on top of each other in the line.
Actually, I'm sorry. Could I get in line away from them? Like act like I
Separate
don't
from
even know
them? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no problem. So after Maria hops out, maybe joins Alvin, you wait a little bit. Maybe you're 10, 15, spots back, a couple different groups between you and them. Get in there. Everyone here is younger than you by half. We're talking people in their 20s, maybe 30s, but most people seem to be in their 20s, very young. There is an odor in the line, as you can tell. It would probably make Sarah blush, and you can see more than a few of them are drinking from various flasks and things, pre-gaming, so to speak. There is an attire, which strangely enough, you almost fit, very dark attire, but you can see
I'm young, I'm hip.
Amongst that dark attire that many of them are wearing, there are moments of like splash of color, very bright color here and there, which you are lacking. You get a lot of strange looks as you get into the line, actually. But then you get other people who are kind of looking up and down at you. They look at your cane. They look at your collar. They kind of shake their head, and no one really bothers you too much, but you can definitely tell people are gossiping about you.
I give them a half smile and a nod, and that's it. I don't talk to anyone.
Fair enough. Rust, you are controlling the drone. Let's see. Maria, you've already you rolled to get the drone up and going, right?
I rolled the.
There's a control roll and there's the repair roll. I don't think you needed to repair it, so.
No, I didn't need to repair it. I have a.
Oh, the automated.
Yeah, the autonomous. That's what I was looking at.
I'm just basically
You're just
watching
looking at the
feed.
tablet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Russ, why don't you go ahead and just roll an awareness test? Wits. It's probably good.
Right. Awareness, wits. That's 5 dice for me.
Couldn't think of the word autonomous fast enough.
Yeah.
I got a 10 and a 6, 2 and 2 4s, so 2 successes.
2 successes. So I'll give you something a little different. As your drone is flying overhead, it can go over top of the building, which allows you to kind of see into the club. And you can see down through the skylights. There's a large dance floor. It's very colorful. There's definitely these different strobe lights that are kind of pulsing through. You can definitely tell that the AV crew is kind of setting up. They're getting it ready. They're warming everything up. You don't really see a whole lot of people, but you see some, staff kind of moving about. You can definitely tell that there is a central dance floor, but there is this sort of secondary level and what looks like this, like a private office behind kind of glass windows on that second floor. And there's like these roped off seats and kind of leather couches. You can tell that there's security that is starting to post up here and there. And as the drone is moving about, you can start to see almost like, kind of ants piling in. The doors must have opened, and you can see people starting to come in as the club is now opened. Alvin, Maria, Reverend, you are in the line. The line's beginning to move forward. But that's
Did I get a count on the number of security guards
2
and
successes?
basic placement?
Two successes. I would say you saw that there are at least 2 guards on the second level. You can see that for sure, and that's probably all you would have been able to catch with only 2.
So Coyote would have called the Reverend and just given him an update on what he saw from the drone as far as the layout of the interior of the club. Normally he would have called Maria, but he's pretty sure Maria doesn't want to talk to him at the moment. So he's like, Reverend, will you make sure to pass that information on to Maria and Alvin?
Yeah.
When you
Keep up
see
the
him in
good work,
club?
son. We appreciate you staying back.
Yes, Reverend. If I see anything else, I'll let you know.
Also, one more thing, Rust. I don't know if we were able to discuss this. With your injuries, we should make sure that you stay safe tonight. So perhaps you don't get out of the van without contacting me or Maria first.
I won't leave the van unless you or Maria ask me to or tell me to.
You're a good man. Thank you.
Okay. So Alvin,
While
Maria.
we're in line,
Yeah, go ahead, Alvin. Yeah.
maybe to like chat up with the people also in line with us. Be like, so about this place, you been here before? First time?
Okay. Why don't you just give me like a sort of charisma manipulation or something like that. Give me just persuasion, whatever kind of social approach you're taking, and that'll kind of determine how much they're willing to chat with you.
And Alvin, you can say no, but can I assist with my nonstop BS?
Yeah, it's fine. Take an extra die there, Alvin.
Unless Alvin wants his own
I have
conversations without
no
me.
social thing, except for like streetwise. I don't even know if that's social.
Streetwise, I'm treating it more like a sort of a knowledge skill, but like more like a social knowledge skill, like meaning how the various like underground and stuff functions and interacts with them and stuff. I don't know if that would apply here.
All I got is charisma then.
Okay, roll charisma and take an extra die from Maria. Right. The more, the better you do, the more you might get.
We have audience left over if you would like.
I don't know about when. Success.
Got one success? Okay. So you get into like a really basic conversation with them, and they're like, yeah, man. Yeah, it's a great place, Boomer. And they kind of looks up at you. And he's like, yeah, when's your kids getting here to come in, huh?
Oh, they're not old enough to get in this.
Ah, okay. No. This is like all the rage, man. It's been open for a couple months, and yeah, they have this killer DJ. Like, comes in, wears this giant, strange, like bird helmet, man. No one really knows who's underneath it. It's like glowing and glittering and shit and everything. You know? And yeah, the experience is great. But then there's additives, you know, that just makes the experience even better. You know?
All right, I'll keep my eye out.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's just not used to seeing folks your age here. Just reliving past glories or something.
Yeah, it's been a while. No.
Recently divorced.
Oh, I'm still married actually, but.
Oh, your wife let you out here?
So she lets me do a lot of things.
All right, cool, man. Oh, wait, hey, sorry. And he kind of goes up. Bouncer kind of checks his ID. He's like, yeah, I'll see you in, man. I'll see you in. Yeah, woo, you know, whatever. And he goes inside. Yeah, one success. You're not getting a ton.
Yeah.
Maria, Alvin, you get some strange and curious glances as they check your ID. Like, they almost don't want to check your ID, but then they kind of do. And
yeah.
Then,
You yeah. We're good, right?
And like the bouncer might even say like, and make sure you hydrate and stuff. These kids can go pretty hard. I will say this, Alvin and Maria, as you're going through, go ahead and both of you can roll. What do I want to call this? I'll say it'll be wits for sure, and I'll say you can either do. Let's do insight actually.
I have none of that.
It's an insight.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect person to go on this interior social mission.
2 success just
I'm further back in line. I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm gonna take an audience and see if I can do really well with this.
Okay.
Great.
That's so true, Australis. Across the street, there's a private investigator taking pictures of Alvin the whole time. She's gonna get custody of Seeley, man. There's no way you're getting custody.
4 successes.
Okay. So Alvin, I mean, you notice him. The guy looks, as you're going in, like you're training. You could tell this guy's a big guy, maybe a good 6'4", 6'5", African-American man, bald head. You can see a little tiny bit of sort of beard just on the chin, but it doesn't go all the way up to the temples. And he doesn't seem rude, doesn't seem, he's not giving anyone a hard time or something. Very business, like no one is screwing with him. And a few times as you're in the line, like he just threw some people out. It's like get better fake IDs, and he just kind of like rips them up in front of them and throws them down to the ground. But you can tell this guy would be, if you had a go with him, this would be rough. Like you can see that this guy moves with a way that suggests he's not just a bouncer, but he's got training. He's got a way that he keeps himself. He's constantly kind of, his eyes are popping up here and there, and he's checking this and that. This is more than just your average bouncer. And you kind of got let in here and there. Maria, I'll say as you're kind of going through, And it's dark up front, but he's occasionally kind of flashing this little thing, and you kind of get this, he's got this little light as he checks IDs, and he does this little stamp, and they wrap the little like ribbon around your wrist and such here and there. You see that as he goes to, at one point, kind of reach his hand up to kind of hold your ID up, he moves in such a way that you can see kind of out of his back pocket, like where it stretches, you can see this ID badge is kind of tucked back there. It's not one for the club, but you immediately recognize the top part of it, and it says lock room on it. But then he gives you back your ID. He's like, have fun in there. And doesn't seem to recognize you or Alvin specifically that he can give off at least, but you do kind of get this sense that this guy has that badge. Go inside.
Okay.
Reverend, you come up in the line.
Yeah, I shuffle up with my cane, and I'm like, oh, you probably need to see my ID, don't you? And I grab my ID, and with it, I've got $200 bills.
So he's about to say, no, that's all right, Father. And he kind of looks at you as you hand over the cash, and he looks very, very confused. Like he's very conflicted at this moment. I'll tell you what.
I would have tried to hide the clerical collar under my coat.
Do you?
If that helped. Yeah, like I said, my coat would be zipped all the way.
Roll a subterfuge. Roll a subterfuge. See if you can hide it up there.
I couldn't get a persuasion just to let me in.
No, yeah, I'll do persuasion. That's fine.
All right, charisma persuasion?
Sure, that sounds great. Do you have any subterfuge out of curiosity? Is that why you're talking me out of it?
Yeah, I don't have any subterfuge.
Okay.
However,
he's gonna notice. He's gonna notice that.
I've got 2 successes and 4 criticals.
Oh my goodness. Well, he notices the collar. He is a professional security agent. He sees the collar. He sees the money. He calls you father. You see, he seems very conflicted. You hold the money up. You see him just sort of like exhale. I can't take your money, Father. If you want to go in, that's fine. But please do not start trying to convert folk here. These are just kids trying to have a good time. Okay? I don't want...
I promise I'm not here to proselytize. What money are you talking about? I didn't bring much with me. I've only got my cart.
I don't want to have to throw a man of the cloth out. That would be a first, and I don't want to do that. And I really don't want to explain this to Miss D'Amata, okay? She is, well, she is kind of looks around. She's a ball buster. So if you could just do me a solid, just go in there, listen to some music, whatever it is that you're doing here, that's fine. Just let these kids do their thing and don't interfere.
I understand. I am not here to proselytize. You will have no problems with me.
Okay. Well, enjoy yourself, Father. You can tell the whole time he's the most confused-looking bouncer you've ever seen in your life. As you get led inside.
I just shuffle in if he lets me in.
He does. No, he'll let you in. He'll let you in. He's not. The only people who's turning away are people who have like bad IDs and too young. So you pop inside. 3 of you are inside. Alvin, Marie, you're in a little first. Immediately, you can tell that it's basically just kind of, you don't see that kind of DJ that they're talking about. All you just see is just sort of some kind of house DJ up there that's kind of getting everything started for now. People are kind of milling around a bar. You can see off to your right as you come in, there's this kind of colorful bar that is just this beacon of light. There's just utter darkness underneath this balcony. And then wrapping around the entire sort of middle and upper portions of this, basically a giant warehouse, you can see that there's this ornate balcony. A few people are going up there, but they're all dressed to the nines, and you didn't see any of those people kind of standing in line. So either they were here first or something like that, but you can kind of see that they're sort of moving up into these special spots here and there. A bunch of folks are finding these little high top tables here and there, getting their drinks, etc. Others are going into already kind of starting. There's not a ton of people in the middle of the dance floor yet. It is fairly early, and there doesn't seem to be anything fancy on. But that's what you all see right now as you come inside.
It's kind of loud. I wouldn't actually go up to Alvin or Maria because I'd want to like keep our cover separate.
Okay.
But I'm definitely saying that to myself as I'm shuffling through.
Okay. All right.
Maria would go over to the bar to order a drink.
Sure, you go. You kind of shout your order a few times. You know, you have to say it like everyone. It's sort of chaos up here. Eventually, a bartender comes over. You can see young guy, but not as young as the people he's serving. He's definitely got a couple years. You can even tell, like even with the weird way in which some of the neon lights are kind of cascading off the mirrors and stuff in here, you can see even he's kind of got some frostedness kind of happening. You're not sure if it's natural or if it's something he did intentionally. But he does a quick double take on you, but doesn't really like linger as he sees your age. You very much stand out compared to the other people. So you order a drink, comes back, kind of, drops it down. And like there's a scanner, you can kind of do your card scanner. Most people are doing that. They're just sort of tapping cards.
Cash.
You do cash, which stands out as well. And so he kind of like does a double take on that too. And he kind of holds it up. Change, shouts, like
Keep change.
and kind of tucks it and kind of goes about. Okay.
Maria gets a text after she goes up for the drink, and it says, wine is a mocker and beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. Proverbs 20, verse 31.
And Maria's gonna like look at the text, and you just see, if you're watching, you're just gonna see her like long hold and delete the text.
You said you weren't going to proselytize. Here you are. Right off the bat. First thing you do on the inside.
Maria's gonna look for some type of if there's any like seating around like the outside.
So there's a variety of like these high top tables. There's, it's not so much seating. It's just there's the tables and people kind of huddle around it.
Okay. Then I'll look for one kind of exterior.
You can see there's some like really uncomfortable looking benches here and there along the exterior of the walls and such. But there's nothing comfortable other than what looks to be up on the second floor. But you can tell that the staircases that go up there, these curling metal grandiose numbers, are roped off, and you can tell that there are more of those kind of big, bulky looking fellas, dark clothing, black shirts, black pants, etc. So you can either linger by one of these tables, or you can kind of go grab a bench. No one's sitting there yet. It just looks to be more one of those like places where you go and rest or something.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for vantage point. So whatever's going to be the best place for me to see everything.
No problem. That's easy enough.
Okay. And then I'm going to text Linda. You're outside, right?
Yeah, she's in line to come in.
Okay, Linda got in the line. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Maria's going to text Linda and just ask, is there a back entrance? And I'll just indicate that there's like balcony. Like, is there a back entrance? VIPs inside, kind of giving you the idea that there must be another way inside.
Yeah, and she'll just tell you like what she saw. Just it seemed to be like a worker's entrance. She didn't see anything else.
Okay. Alvin or Reverend, what are you doing inside?
Probably gonna grab a drink, just look around the room, wait for this bird man supposedly he's supposed to show up.
Sure. Okay.
I'll be texting Alvin then.
It's pretty good.
They're grown-ups. They're grown-ups. They're in their 30s and 40s.
Joking. We're working though.
Proselytizing like crazy. Okay. So you just same thing. You're just kind of posting up somewhere. Got your drink. Okay. Reverend, what are you doing on the inside other than proselytizing, immediately breaking the word that you gave to the bouncer outside?
You act like I should feel bad about that. I would be going into the bathroom to try and get away from the noise.
You go into the bathroom, Reverend. And there's no line just yet. But you go in there. You hear the sounds of people talking and laughing. There's people in here. And as you walk in, you hear the distinct sound of coming from inside one of the urinals. Not one of the urinals, one of the stalls. Door's not closed; it's just sort of there. And you can tell underneath, like where the doors doesn't go all the way down to the floor. There's 4 legs. You can tell there's 2 people in there. And then the second later, you hear. These people seem to be snorting drugs. No response. Actually, they don't care.
Is there any chance there's enough to share?
So one of them pulls back on the stall door, and they look out at you, and you can see two young guys, early 20s, like super young, scrawny, skinny. You can tell that like they're dressed fairly dark, but you can see that one of them has what looks like an in-process sleeve of tattoos. It's not quite done, not quite filled in. There's some like stenciled areas, and there's other parts that are filled in with color. Still kind of working on it. It's just sort of mishmash of like classic art and also comic art. This sort of strange mixture of things. And they look up at you, and because again you have no subterfuge, you've tried your best to hide this collar. They look at your face, they look at your cane, and then they look at your collar. And they're like, is this some kind of joke?
I'll pull out a wad of cash.
Eyes go wide. Yeah. And he kind of reaches out. Money first. Father?
I'll give him 100.
You see. Okay. And then the other one takes it. They kind of argue, like you see there's a moment of arguing, but then like you hand over the cash, and they get this little bag out. And it's got, it's powder of some kind. And they dip out a line for you on the back of on the top. Like these are like old school toilets. They're not like basic toilets. So they actually have like a residential toilet. So there's a whole flat top for the reservoir.
I think you misunderstood me there, son. How much for the bag?
And they kind of look at each other. I paid 2. And then they look. The other one looks up. 2.
I pull out 300 more and hand it to him.
Okay. Can we take this line? We'll give you what's left.
The Lord bless and keep you. And I take the bag and walk out.
And then, like, you see one of them, like, kind of does this weird, like, trying to, and butchering this Catholic cross. And then you hear as you're walking out. So you have a little bag. Sure.
I have a little bit of streetwise. Would I know if this is just like generic cocaine?
Roll that streetwise. Give me a streetwise.
Intelligence
Is fine. Yes.
Would you like anything from the audience?
Yes, I would. Unless we could do like resolve. Like I'm resolved to figure out what this is.
I feel like
I don't think that makes any
sense.
sense.
Stick it in your nose like Rita did.
All right, so I'm taking 1 audience die. Okay.
I'll say a difficulty for this to differentiate between this and sort of any other drug, like you're specifically trying to assess whether this is dust. For you, I'm going to call this moderate. For somebody else like Linda maybe, or somebody who's seen dust before, it would probably not even require a roll.
Moderate is how many?
3.
Okay, wish me luck.
I'm sure as part of that lengthy conversation everyone had in the afternoon, it might have been brought up here or there. The description,
like what you're looking for,
to some degree.
All right, that's 2 successes. I'm going to use a willpower to re-roll 2 dice.
Yes.
I saw that.
3 successes. Exactly.
Hey.
Okay. So you notice a few things when you look at the bag. It's a small bag, plastic, etc. You can tell there's definitely, they've already started on it, right? Like they've gotten a few lines of this, so you didn't really get your money's worth. I don't know whether that bothers you or not.
Not in the slightest.
You notice that on the inside of the bag, there is like this little sort of logo on the inside. So it's strange. It's just it almost looks like a missile. You don't even know what to make of it. And as you're looking at the actual ingredients themselves, it doesn't look like just like cocaine. It's not white, and it takes you a second because the lighting's so messed up inside the club. But when you finally get to a point where you can trust the light, you can tell that there is sort of an off-white coloring to it. Like it definitely looks as though this matches the description that Linda has maybe given you, or maybe Quixote or Maria gave you about what Rena took. It definitely looks like it's powder, though.
I would take a picture of the logo,
okay,
and send it to Linda, Alvin, and Maria,
okay,
just so that they've seen it at least, whether they recognize it or not. More people knowing the clue is better.
Mm-hmm. That message pops up. Everyone gets it. That's fine. Linda will say it comes in right as you're going through, and guy looks at you, and he's just like, he kind of winces. You can tell he's
I've
hesitating.
got a disease.
I don't know if that helps you.
Or not like a disease, I guess I should say. I should say it's more of like a...
You see he reaches down and he grabs the hook of the rope and slowly starts to hook it to the other stand, closing the line off. Sorry, I think we're full up. Everyone's got to wait. And he's kind of looking right at you with this pained look on his face. If you want to make a
Linda
roll, you
will
can.
Wait.
No, you can make a roll if you can.
For what?
To try to convince him to go inside. But as he looks at you, and as like the numbers are there, and then you say you have a disease.
I meant to say not like a disease,
like a condition.
Like yeah.
I don't think that's going to help either.
I know, but whatever.
I think those are all. I'm going to say for you, unfortunately, this is going to be hard.
That's fine.
Yeah, so 5 successes.
Would you like an extra from the audience?
No, what am I rolling?
Whatever you want to try to convince your way in here. So if you're trying to just persuade, that's fine. That's for the skill. Then you can probably use like either manipulation or charisma for your attribute.
Oh, I don't got shit for either of those. Okay.
You don't say.
Yep. That's fine.
Lecture him about the inappropriateness of ageism.
He's doing his
That's
job.
all I could get.
This is his job. He's got to get young, attractive people in here, Melissa. He already let you
and
Alvin
the whole
and Reverend.
crowd is senior citizens. It's gonna hurt business.
This ain't country kitchen buffet. So you give him your best, whatever it is you say, you try. You mention it's a condition, that you're really younger than you look and stuff.
And then she'll realize that she's not doing anything good, and she's like, "Look, I just want to purchase some stuff. Can I perhaps go around back? Is there any other options?"
That's interesting. Okay, how many successes did you get?
3. That's the max I could get.
Okay. So he's still gonna do the hook thing, so you're not getting it. That's for sure.
She's like, I get it. I look rough.
Okay.
I've lived a rough life. I just need a hit.
You could tell he's starting to take a little sympathy at this point now. And now the whole condition thing is working for you. And he's kind of looks around. He's like, get a motions with his head kind of further down. We'll call it the west side of the club. You did like a walk down, we'll say the back side, the north side of the club, the alleyway there. But he kind of motions down there. He's like, go see Cruz.
All right. Thank you.
You got cash? It's only cash.
Yeah, I got cash.
Okay. So Linda, you walk down, curve round. You can see that it's another alleyway, and you would imagine that they kind of weave together at some point in the back. but you can see that there is a van back here. And you can tell that there are others who are doing the same thing you are. And even as you're kind of turning down the alley, someone else kind of comes out. You notice, first of all, that the van here has some lettering on the side. It's kind of parked off to the side. It's dark. Can't make it out from a distance, but you can tell it's a lettered van. And you can see that there is like a handful of like these lawn chairs that have been set up where people have just kind of posted up. And there is a guy just sitting back there. He's got this big old cigar in his mouth. And he's just sort of smoking it here and there. There's other couple dudes around him. People are kind of waiting in line as they get there, and they're kind of going up and they kind of give an order and then sort of put a wad of cash down. Someone's handing stuff out, handing stuff out, handing stuff out. So you get up, come to like one of the dudes who's like standing in front of the guy with the cigar, and God, this guy kind of leans and looks at you. But he's not the one who talks. One of these other ones, one of the bodyguards, like, "What do you want, Grandma?"
I was Cruz. I was told to come see Cruz.
Yeah, you found him.
I need a hit. And she just kind of like points at herself, and she's like, "Ew, what do you got?"
He kind of gets this weird look on his face. He kind of laughs, but also grimaces at the same time. And he kind of looks down at the dude with the cigar, and you can see he pulls that out of his mouth, and he gets this huge grin. Like, if the grandma wants a hit, give Grandma a hit. And kind of puts the cigar back in his mouth, lights it up, and he is like dressed something crazy. You can see he's got what almost looks like a lei on, like a Hawaiian lei, but it's dark flowers. It's kind of wrapped on. He's got this almost like a leisure suit with kind of a red undershirt, but it's kind of this, you think it's dark, maybe gray. And he's got these saddleback shoes that's red and black, and they're glistening in the light coming down from the moon, from the stars, such like that. You do your exchange. You get a little bag. You look down on it, and in the camera, based upon the picture you got sent by the Reverend, it's got that missile right there, right inside. As you're walking out of the alleyway, you kind of peek up, you look at the van really quick, and you realize as you're walking out, it says Valley Medcorp.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and stop there for tonight.
Damn it.
As we are
Yay.
2.5 hours in. Oh my God, is that Logan in chat? What's up, Logan, man? How you been?
It is.
Oh, wow. It's seen a while, man. Oh,
Holy
boy.
goodness.
That was fun tonight, guys.
Good session. Good
That
That
session.
was one heck of an episode.
That was great. I was nervous about how everything was gonna resolve itself, but I gotta say, you guys crushed it. Like, that was so interesting. Like, I can't believe how little I said for like an hour and a half. It was amazing. It was awesome.
They went in.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So we'll pick up there. We'll pick up with Coyote on the he's got the tablet. He's keeping an eye on the drone flying around outside. Linda's just picked up some drugs from Cruz. Just saw this Valley Medcorp van. Also saw a lockroom control car. Alvin, Maria, and the Reverend are inside. The Reverend's also doing drugs, clearly. And I don't know what Sarah's going to think when you come home covered in glitter and your eyes.
I don't keep secrets from her. She's going to know every detail.
Especially when that when the DJ walks in and we actually figure out that it's that female master vampire. Hey, Rust, would you like to come in now?
Yeah, we might be able to use you now.
We'll see. I'm
It
very
would have
excited.
been so funny if I was actually let in, because I was gonna have Linda go immediately to the center of the dance floor and just start busting out moves.
One day, maybe you'll get in there. I don't know.
Today was not that day.
I feel
No,
like
that
Yeah.
worked out better. That's more of what I was
No,
looking for.
totally.
Yeah. All right, let's do some closing plugs, and I'll set up a raid. Aaron, tell us about what's going on with Garblag these days.
Let's see. Garblag next week. I think Monday is in a bit of flux at the moment. But Tuesday, I believe that Millie will be back for some Coriolis. Wednesday, Dan will be running Age of Sigmar, Soulbound for us. Then on Thursday, Lewis will be running the One Ring again. And Thursday night, of course, we will be back for more of Achtung Cthulhu, episode 2, The Force of Fear, with that Modifius is sponsoring for us, and we're giving some great giveaways for that. So please tune in for that. Friday, I think they're going to be back with some Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, but don't quote me on that.
Sounds great. And that Octon Cthulhu game got off to a fantastic start. We gave away a PDF last night of the Shadows of Atlantis campaign, so we got new stuff next week. So definitely come back every Thursday on Garblack. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the character I'm playing.
The characters are great.
He's awesome. I mean, the leadership skills for that game,
so
I never
good.
really looked at him that close, but I mean, unbelievable.
I can't believe it. I'm going to try to never fire a gun. I'm just going to tell people what to do. That's the whole thing. I'm going, you do this, and I just make you better when you do it. It's weird. Speaking of making people better, Steven, what are you doing on Tuesdays?
You're playing a similar character on Tuesdays where you don't fire guns.
Yeah.
Tuesdays are The Good, the Mad, and the Unholy, a Haunted West game. Some rootin' tootin' horror. It's been a lot of fun. We got a couple of Lease faces here in the game. We just started Arc 2, and they have wandered into the jaws of the beast. Will the jaws clamp down? Find out next week.
Wait a second. I thought we were just at a ranch.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep
And
telling yourself that.
yeah. And as for us here, let's see. Well, I mean, that's here. The Haunted West game's here. But tomorrow we'll be back to One Ring. We've been off for about a month, but we're finally back to One Ring. We are in Angmar doing our Wanky Angmar campaign, so it's very fun to get back to that. I don't remember how to play, but whatever. Let's see. And then Monday we're going to be doing Holler for Savage Worlds. Holler. Appalachian Apocalypse. Then let's see, next Friday is going to be a Mothership night, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with more Hunter with the new crew. We see the crew together. It actually is, I thought, moved together. It made sense. Everyone did fantastic jobs, and that was amazing. It was wonderful. Thank you, Logan. Thank you so much, man. So yeah, Melissa already dropped it. If you want to get some of these, we've started rolling a lot of physical dice. Our friends at Norse Foundry, our friend Eric, he's kind of hooking us up here and there, and he's given us a promo code. So if you want to get some of those wonderful dice from Norse Foundry, use the promo code Lolly for 10% off your order. And yeah, Logan, I am unparalleled at Old Woman. I gotta say, generally my favorite thing to play is Old Women. I don't know why that is. Mama Purdy might still be my favorite character I've ever played. So though my throat hurt from it. Anyhow. Why don't we get out of here? We're going to raid our friends over at Slices and Dices. It looks like they're playing Call of Cthulhu, a game that we just played this past week, and it will be coming to the channel very soon as we're starting up Horror on the Orient Express. So why don't we go ahead and watch some Call of Cthulhu. Follow the raid. Thank you to everybody who hung out tonight. Thank you to all of you who threw out some bits, threw out some subs. You all were so fantastic. We really, really appreciate it. And if you're watching this later on YouTube or on the Twitch VOD, thank you for thinking of us there. Hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, whatever the hell button you see. Just hit a button, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen from it. Other than that, click the raid button, which is about to pop up. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.